You are listening to WTUZ Radio Podcast. Welcome to WTUZ Radio Podcast. I am your host, Rhonda. And today's topic is an update on digital currency, i.e. financial reset. So this is a part of our series, Gateway to a New Economy. So if you caught that series that I started last year, you know that I pretty much laid out a roadmap of where they're taking us in the economy, why they are doing it, which is definitely a part of a major hard reset, which that reset lines up to the planet's energy. So meaning the currency must match the frequency of the realm/planet. Okay. So I specifically talked about how all of these events going on, medical event, hint, hint, let me back that up, worldwide medical event, hint, hint. I told you inflation was coming. It's here. I told you the impact of why inflation is here. We talked about the supply chain. And I told you ultimately all of this will lead to justification and reason for a swap out in currency, i.e. currency reset. So I saw this come across my feed. This is from the Federal Reserve site and from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. And this is titled "At the International Roles of the U.S. Dollar, a Research Conference Sponsored by the Federal Reserve Board, Washington, D.C." So this came out a couple days ago. Okay. So here we go. This is from Chairman Jerome Powell, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Good morning and welcome to the inaugural conference on the international roles of the U.S. dollar. Thank you all for participating, for lending your expertise on this important topic. This conference marks the first use of our new Martin Conference Center, which I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm assuming they're in the Martin Luther King Center in D.C. All right. The international financial and monetary system that emerged after World War II has been defined by the centrality of the dollar. It is the world's reserve currency and the most widely used for the payments and investments. As outlined in recent work by board staff, the global preeminence has been supported by the depth and liquidity of the U.S. financial markets, the size and strength of the U.S. economy, its stability and openness to trade and capital flows, and international trust in U.S. institutions and the rule of law. Professor Barry Etchengreen will expand on some of these themes later this morning. The dollar's international role holds multiple benefits. For the United States, it lowers transaction fees and borrowing costs for U.S. households, businesses, and the government. Its ubiquity helps contain uncertainty and, relatedly, the cost of hedging for domestic households and businesses. For foreign economies, the wide use of the dollar allows borrowers to have access to a broad pool of lenders and investors, which reduces their funding and transaction costs. The benefits of the dollar as the dominant reserve currency have generated an extensive academic lecture. Yesterday's paper on the Treasury markets by Alexandra Tubova and Frank Warnock extends that work in meaningful ways. So I'm just going to real quick give a comment on let's start thinking very critically on why things are done the way they are done. And I'm particularly speaking on why the U.S. was chosen to be the hub of their currency being the world's reserve currency. And where I'm going with that is, if you look at history, you will see different empires, I would say, taking turns being not only the seat of power of the world, i.e. also the financial seat of power, okay? Because they equate economic power with power overall, okay? So where I'm going with this is a group of folks decided, the same people that decide or carry out the orders of the decider, using former President George W.'s word, decider. They decide who's going to be the world economic power, because this is a one world power rulership. This is a one, quote, quote, government rulership. It is an empire. Okay. So these last, 400 plus years has just been the United States' turn to hold that seat of power from a military standpoint to an economic standpoint. Okay? So each empire that rises up and takes that seat of power, well, let me back that up. Each kingdom, because it's one empire, that rises up to take that seat of power, it is controlled by one empire. Okay? So everybody's running around here talking about New World Order. You're behind the 8 ball. New World Order been done happen. And shout out to Brother Odell in like 432. It's been a world empire. Okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay? So let's continue. The Federal Reserve's strong commitment to our price stability mandate contributes to the widespread confidence in the dollar as a store of value. To that end, my colleagues and I are acutely focused on returning inflation to our 2% objective. Meeting our dual, and just to point out here, and Jerome Powell's, I'm not even going to say defense, because he told you last year, and I pointed out that he was telling you when he was telling you that he may have to raise interest rates. And I told you it's not going to be a may, it's going to be, he is going to raise interest rates. There will be inflation. And I also told you that that was his way to give you disclosure. All right. So here we are. He's talking about returning inflation to around the 2% mark. Meeting our dual mandate also depends on maintaining financial stability. The Fed's commitment to both our dual mandate and financial stability encourages the international community to hold and use dollars. The wide use of the dollar globally can also pose financial stability challenges that can materially affect households, businesses, and markets. For that reason, the Federal Reserve has played a key role in promoting financial stability and supporting the use of the dollar internationally through our liquidity facilities. Okay, so they're pretty much telling you that the Fed Reserve, I told you, that's the godfather, where everybody comes to get their money, quote, quote, get loans, okay, banks, governments, etc. So Jerome Powell is telling you that this institution, and remember, the Fed Reserve is a private institution. The Federal Reserve is a private institution. It is not a government institution. They set the precedence of what currency that the world will use. So meaning any business going on around the world ultimately will be settled or is settled in dollars. Okay? And what I am telling you is not only is that decision made by a world empire, the reason that it is made, has to do everything with the frequency of the realm, controlling the frequency of the realm. All right, let's get back to it. The central bank liquidity swap lines provide foreign central banks with the capacity to deliver U.S. dollar fundings to institutions in their jurisdictions. So in other words, it does not matter if other nations are using their local currencies, because we do know that other nations have their own local currencies. The euro. I think Mexico is the peso. China, the yuan. You get the gist of what I'm saying. What it is saying, what the central bank, what Big Daddy / Godfather is telling you is all of the 5 families go through him to swap out them local currencies and settle in dollars. And the foreign and international monetary authorities, repo facilities, allows approval. FIMA, that's what they're short naming that, account holders the option to temporarily exchange their U.S. Treasury security held by the Federal Reserve for the U.S. dollar. So just basically saying what I already done said, that the Fed is big boss, and all of these nations that roll up to an empire change over their money to them via dollars. These facilities serve as liquidity backstops so that holders of dollar assets and participants in dollar funding markets can be confident that strains will be eased when these markets come under stress. That assurance, in turn, mitigates the effect of such strains on the flow of credit to U.S. households and businesses. Both facilities enhance the standing of the dollar as the dominant global currency. The swap lines were extensively used during the global financial crisis, the 2011 Euro area debt crisis, and the financial turmoil of the outset of the pandemic in 2020. The paper on the central bank swap lines presented yesterday by Geraldo Ferrara, Philippi Mueller, and Ganesh and Juan provides novel micro-level evidence on the usefulness of swap lines in providing cross-border liquidity to support the real economy. So I'm going to take a look at that paper and see if it warrants doing a drop on that. Looking forward, rapid changes are taking place. Here's where we get to the meat. But I just want to read all that up above to just remind the family and those that are new, so you can really start unraveling and understanding what the true economy is, why it is the way it is. Looking forward, rapid changes are taking place in the global monetary system that may affect the international role of the dollar in the future. Most major economies already have or are in the process of developing instant 24/7 payments. Let me run that for the slow ones in the back that are quiet as a church mouse. When a lot of us, well, not a lot of us, those of us that were telling you this was coming years ago, we didn't just wake up out of bed and say this. We've been telling you years that this was coming down the line. We told you that they were secretly behind the scenes testing this. We even gave you the companies and the banks that were secretly funding these digital / cryptocurrency, the technology behind it. Most major economies, they didn't say, well, the little guys, the stupid guys, because most equate little to stupid. Most major economies already have or are in the process of developing instant 24/7 payments. Our FedNow service will be coming online in 2023. And yes, I'm yelling because once again, I am warning you, it's already here. It's here. So let me read that again for the slow ones in the back. And I'm not even talking about the general population. I'm okay with that. I understand the general population is always going to follow surface news. It is what it is. I'm talking about the ones that have the audacity to call themselves gurus, that 5 years ago you were and not only gurus, you have a substantial followers And this is what happens when people follow instead of taking information, doing their own research and using discernment. I'm talking 5 years ago, you said crypto wasn't going to be here. You said all types of other crap. Then in the last 2 years, 3 years, tops, I saw some of you same people started to become crypto experts. And you got a lot of your same followers to invest in crappy coins. And now that the market has dropped, the bottom has failed out. And please note, that's not an accident either. You're quiet as a church mouse. And that's not including the ones that got busted for scamming. And that's even on to celebrities that are involved in lawsuits against coins, digital coins that they promoted that was just flat out straight up scams. Okay? So let's be clear. I'm not talking about the folks that legitimately research the market, follow the market. They have a reason to say what they say. And that's not to say they're going to be accurate all the time. That understand what the technology was about. That understand where the direction was going. I'm not talking about those people. I'm literally talking about the fly-by-night people that saw it as a dollar sign to fleece people's pockets like they normally do. Okay? Those same people just 5 years ago was saying that the people that knew about it 10 years ago were full of crap, literally called them stupid. I'm telling you. I just sat back in amazement, only to turn around and promote it and promote crappy stuff, fleece people's pockets, charge them a fee for financial advice, fleece their pockets, and now they're quiet as a church mouse again. Those are the people I'm talking about. So, again, most major economies already have or are in the process of developing instant 24/7 payments. Our own FedNow service will be coming online in 2023. And in light of the tremendous growth in crypto assets and stablecoins, the Fed Reserve is examining whether a U.S. central bank digital currency, CBDC, would improve on an already safe and efficient domestic payment system. Again, it's already been decided. That's what they're going to do. This is yet disclosure yet again. Just like he disclosed to you that he may have to raise interest rates. Remember when he disclosed that to you last year? Consider this yet again, because this is his second time saying that, we may go to a central bank digital currency. This is yet his second time. This is disclosure. So I'll just read that part again. And in light of the tremendous growth in crypto assets and stable coins, the Federal Reserve is examining whether a U.S. central bank currency, CBDC, would improve on an already safe and efficient domestic payment system. As the Fed's white paper on this topic notes, a U.S. CBDC could also potentially help maintain the dollar's international standing. As we consider feedback from the paper, remember I was waiting on that paper to come out? As we consider feedback from the paper, we will be thinking not just about the current state of the world, but also how the global financial system might evolve over the next 5 to 10 years. This is disclosure, fam. I told you digital currency was coming online within 5 years tops. If not 22-23. So again, he's saying they're evaluating a central bank digital currency. They're considering feedback from the paper. But they're also going to be thinking about how global financial systems might evolve over the next 5 to 10 years. It's already been decided. The World Bank and them already has a system up and running and testing, a digital currency system up and running. Quote, quote, they're testing it. It's already been decided. This is yet again disclosure. The paper by Jayakai and Asani, which is on today's program, and our distinguished panelists on this topic this afternoon will provide more insight on the issues. Okay, so I'm going to be going over this paper, and I may come back with another drop, depending on how much meat is in that paper. To summarize, I would like to stress the importance of the dollar to the U.S. and the global economies and financial markets. It is critical that we understand the channels, connections, and the effect of the role of the dollar. Now, in Jerome Powell's defense, he's pretty much telling folks, because make no mistake, this is public disclosure. Just because folks want to sit in front of mainstream media and have news fed to them, that ain't these people's problem. They're saying, we told y'all. So he's pretty much telling you all that you all need to understand how currency moves across this realm. You need to understand that. I would like to stress the importance of the U.S. dollar and the global economies and financial markets. It is critical that we understand the channels, connections, and effects of the role of the dollar. In closing, I want to thank you all for your time. Blah, 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 la, 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 la. All right. So, again, this is from the meeting recap speech on June 17th from Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. And this is off of the Fed Reserve System website, rather. So, fam, there you go. This is just another disclosure that digital currency is here. They're going to start rolling it out in 2023. And And it's going to be a 5 to 10 year process. That's basically what they're telling you. Please note, this is yet disclosure. Okay? All right. So I hope you all got some value out of this. This is a part of our series on our podcast. This series is Gateway to a New Economy. If you have not checked out that series, I highly encourage you to check it out. I literally broke down the blueprint on how they're going to roll this out, why they are doing what they're doing. And so far, this blueprint is playing out pretty much the way I thought it was going to be. And they're definitely giving disclosure as well on what they are doing. So I hope everyone's doing well on this Wednesday. This is Rhonda with WTUZ Radio Podcast. Peace and love, family.